my pleasure to welcome you to the class of 2017's College Planning Nights. So tonight's event is really, in essence, the kickoff, we hope, in earnest of the college planning process for you and your family. We hope that all of our students are thinking about college from the time they walk into Hinsdale South, but given the timeline of how things work, if you haven't done much work, tonight is really the time where you really need to begin putting in lots of time, energy, and effort into thinking about what's next after graduation. Before we jump into the presentation, I just want to make sure that every family at least has a copy of the College Planning Guide. We're going to go over a lot of information tonight. You're also going to have the opportunity to do a junior planning conference. You probably got a letter about that. With your counselor, where you can sit individually with your child's counselor, go through in-depth the college planning process, how it applies to your family and your student with your counselor. There's a lot of information tonight. There's a lot of information at that session. So it's nice to have something that you can reflect back on. Feel free to make notes, earmark pages, whatever you need to do. This is where we try to put some of the most useful information, tips, resources into one spot for you. So make sure you have a copy of that. There's also a yellow sheet, which is just when the event is over, if you could give us some feedback. It's a 6-question survey, that's all it is. It shouldn't take longer than 30 seconds. We'd appreciate that feedback at the end of tonight's presentation. All right, so with that said, tonight's event is structured as follows. For about the next half hour or so, the counseling department is going to present to you on what we consider the most important resources and ideas when beginning the college exploration process. We're shooting for about 7:05, 7:10. We're going to take a break, set up a panel of experts from colleges, so we have a number of schools represented. That was in the mailing home. We're really lucky to have an incredible variety of college experts who are going to share their expertise with you from the college side of things. What are important things to think about when you're exploring your different college options? All right, so with that said, we really have a twofold goal for all students in the college planning process. One is that they become familiar with all of the many college options. There's over 2,000 four-year colleges in the United States. You're never going to know them all, but if you put some time into finding out what's out there, you're going to get a feeling of what's there and what best fits for you. The other side of that is knowing yourself, okay? You have to figure out, students, I know it's a big task in high school, figuring out what your strengths, gifts, talents are, what you value in a college, what you need out of a college. And then where those two things meet, what the options are and what you need, that's obviously the best fit. That's our goal for this whole college process. So I think the best way to begin the discussion is to think about the timeline for college planning. This is on maybe page 2 or 3, if you're kind of following along. We hope that between freshman year and the summer before senior year, that's your time to explore your options, okay? So we call that the exploration phase. You can go through all sorts of different phases. You may want to go to West Point one day, and then you want to go to the University of Hawaii the next day, and then you want to go to U of I, and then you want to go to North Central. That's fine. Now is your time to try on different things. Build up a big list of schools you're interested in. So students, you are in charge of this phase. It's you who's going to put in the time on Family Connection, going to college night that's in a couple weeks, or maybe visiting some campuses, looking at guidebooks, talking to your counselor, talking to your friends, talking to your parents, and build up a big list of schools you're interested in. We hope that when you sit down with your counselor for your junior planning conference, you have some idea, right? You've done some exploring and thinking. That's the first phase. That's primarily what we're going to focus on tonight, is what are the best ways to explore your options. The reason we're focusing on that is because you need to understand, based on this timeline, when you walk in the door as a senior, we are hoping you are just about ready to apply to the colleges of your choice. And when you apply, it's going to be to a smaller list of between 4 and 8 schools. That's kind of a ballpark average and normal, okay? So if you don't put in time, energy, and effort now, it's going to be harder next fall to make tough decisions on where you're going to apply. And you can see how if you walk in the door as a senior and just start thinking about college then, Well, you've got essays to write. You might have to talk to teachers about letters of recommendation. You're going to have to fill out the applications. You've got homecoming. Hopefully the football team makes another run of the playoffs, right? You've got all these things going on, fun senior year. It's not the time to begin the process. It's really the time to go from your large list down to a smaller list that you're applying to. Okay? Parents, the financial aid process begins in the fall as well, so filling out financial aid forms. Mr. Eubanks is going to talk tonight about some of those considerations. This time next year in the spring is when you get admission decisions from colleges, whether you were accepted, denied, waitlisted. And you get financial aid award letters from colleges, how much it's going to cost, if you've got any scholarships, grants, anything like that. And the earliest a school can require you to make a decision and make a deposit is May 1st of your senior year. So you can see with that timeline, we've got a little bit over a year to go through this entire process. So it's very important that over the course of the next 4 or 5 months, you're really investing yourself into the process of exploring your different options. All right. So with that said, when you're exploring your options, we think there's 3 distinct lenses that you're going to look at this decision from. The academic fit is, number 1, are you admissible and can you get in, right? You're probably going to apply to a school that's maybe a reach, apply to some schools that are a match, and maybe apply to a school that's a clear admit. Mr. Dickerson's going to talk about that a little bit later. But does the school have the major that you want? Do you anticipate being successful at that school? All those different pieces, the academic fit of the college process. Now there's also the financial fit. Parents, you're going to take the lead on this. You know, how much does the school cost? What do we anticipate financial aid to be? There's a way to get estimates of financial aid. What's a reasonable amount to borrow? Beginning those conversations now makes it a lot easier next spring when you have to make decisions. And then the feel fit, which we'll talk about as well, is more of that, what's the campus experience like? Does that match up with what you want out of campus experience? So when all 3 of those things come together, that's of course what we would call the best fit. All right, so what we're going to do is begin with Mr. Dickerson, one of our counselors, explaining to you how to explore that academic fit thoroughly and what resources are out there to help you along the way. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Dickerson.
Thank you. I'm actually going to advance one here. It's really easy to have an idea of, oh, this is, you know, I'm going to try to get into the best college I can possibly get into. The hard part of that is what exactly does that mean? It can mean a lot of different things. And I know that there's a lot of pressure even among, you know, parents and you know, kids themselves get competitive, and it becomes sometimes, I think, more than just where is the best place for this, you know, 18-year-old to go get an education, further their education. Okay, there becomes a lot associated with that. So there's no easy answer. I always like to tell the story of one of my first jobs. I actually sold running shoes in my hometown of Peoria, and all the time people would come in and they'd say, you know, especially somebody who had a deep pocketbook, they'd come in and they'd, okay, I can spend whatever on a running shoe. Give me your best shoe. The company person in me might have said, okay, and looked right at the wall for the most expensive shoe we had, which was like the Nike Air Max Plus. But the reality was, and I was a runner, and ethically I knew that wasn't always the right shoe. So there's no like one, hey, this is the best running shoe. Otherwise, why wouldn't everybody be wearing that shoe? So I'd ask questions. Do you have wide feet? How many miles a week do you run? What are your goals? You know, how long have you been running? I would look at them and their body type, obviously. Different types of shoes for different people. Do pronate, supinate. I think you get the metaphor, hopefully. It's the same thing with college. So we have many ways to try to get ideas of what the best college might be for you. So as Mr. Holland said, we divide into different categories. The one I'm going to look at is called academic fit. Now academics obviously should be the major reason you're going to college. So this is an important one. I want to show you, this is a representation of a traditional college search. We have a program called Family Connection, which all the juniors were, well, actually, we've done lessons with them each of the 3 years they've been here. This year, we really focused on the colleges and the college search, so this is kind of a representation of that. So this is great for looking for schools that you may not have an idea of. So like I said, I grew up in Peoria. I was very familiar with Bradley University, who's on our panel, because they were 3 miles from my house. Western Illinois University, I knew very well. I did not know St. Mary's University in Winona, Minnesota. So this is great for finding those types of schools that you don't already know about. So the questions asked: 2 or 4 year college, location, size, major, extracurriculars, very important. The reason I worked at a running shoe store is I was a runner. I was a college athlete, so that was a big one for me. Others, which could be miscellaneous, obviously, and then you get a list. So I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like. All right, I know the wording is kind of small, but this is an actual screenshot from the program. And again, parents, feel free to ask your son or daughter about this program. They should know their login. If not, they can come see their counselor. We can help them with it. But you can get on this and you can use this too. It's really interesting. And it's fun to actually spend a little time with this. So there are many ways. I'm going to show you, bottom left, it says college search. And that's the funnel I was talking about. But there are a lot of ways to get to it. You can just put in a college. So like I said, I'm from Peoria. I want to find out about Bradley statistics. I can just punch it in top left. But if I want to find St. Mary's or whatever, I can go to Supermatch College Search, College Ranch, College Compare, College Lookup, all of these different ways. And instead of, I'm not going to give a big lesson on how they're all different. They all have their different nuances. Some are funnels, some are not. The best thing to do is just to try them out. Have fun with it. But I'm going to show you the college search, which is on the bottom left. That's the one we technically usually teach. All right, so this, again, is an actual screenshot. We put in some answers here. So we put in 4-year school, the entire Midwest. It takes like 8 or 10 states. You can put in miles from home. You can put in specific states. It's really pretty neat. Enrollment, we put 2 through 10,000 students. So it divides into, we call like small private schools, medium, or small schools, medium schools, 2 to 10,000 students. It goes lower than this enrollment-wise, obviously it goes higher. But these are kind of small to medium. This student is obviously interested in football, playing football, men's, obviously, and is looking to be an accounting major. So I went to North Central College, great school. If I wanted to be an engineer, I would have had to do a 3-2 program and transfer after my junior year. I didn't want to be an engineer. To me, it was a clear fit to go to a school like that. I could major in many, many things. But again, it's good to know if you want to be a nurse, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be an architect. It may, not every college has those majors. Accounting is a pretty common one, so that didn't narrow this too much. But this is what we came up with. 96 schools fit the criteria. Okay, so you see the top 7. Anderson, Ashland, Augsburg in Minnesota, Augustana, Aurora University, Baker University, Baldwin Wallace. Some of these you may have heard of, most you probably haven't even heard of. And that's the point of this. It gives you ideas, because in the first phase, we want to learn more. We want to learn about more. Later you can narrow it down. You can digest this for a second. Try to figure out what this is, and then I'll explain what it is. Okay, this is what we call scattergrams. Okay, and I love this because what we do is we put in our own district students. There's about 10 years of data in here, and every time we put in whether a student is admitted or denied or even waitlisted to a school, we put that in there, and they become an anonymous blip on the scattergram. And the great thing about this is it gives the students an idea of what's a clear school or what might be a reach or things like that. And I'll get into that in a second. This is the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. It gets more complicated than this, but like to divide into 3 types of schools. And when you're searching for a school academically, first question you have is, will I get in? Fair question. This gives you data where instead of filling out an application and sending in the application, you can have an idea of what are my chances of getting into this school. Okay? University of Illinois, this student, our mock student named Danny Darian, happens to have a 23 ACT. Most of the students in this room do not yet have an ACT, but they will soon. It will be uploaded to this program automatically. Also has a 4.30 GPA on our 5-point scale. So what's great about this, it uses our numbers, our data, so you don't have to rely on the college websites to list minimums, which most of them don't, or averages or things like that. It gives you real data. Now, the good thing about the U of I list is that it's got many applicants. Okay, the bad thing is they have several different universities or colleges within their university. So is a student trying to get into engineering, or are they trying to get into education? It does make a difference. This doesn't capture this. But for Danny, we would call this a reach school. So I would encourage Danny, if this is his dream school, to apply. Go for it. You've always wanted to go to U of I, you might get in. Now realistically, odds are, especially if he's trying to get into engineering or business or something like that, he probably won't get in. Okay, but he might. Okay, and that's a classic reach school. You might, you probably won't, but it's worth the application because you don't want to be wondering. Okay, this is Illinois State University, about a half hour down the road from Champaign in Normal, Illinois. And this is what we would call more of a probable. So the green means in, and he's circled there right on the edge. He would be actually below their average, which is 25. But this is why this chart is great, because you see that even though he's below the average ACT, he's actually definitely in the company of green. So I'd say, hey, Illinois State looks like you have a good shot. He should also have a backup plan, and that's not even, we're just talking academics, not even financial yet, because there's a little bit of red creeping up around there. So it's not a clear admit. It's pretty safe. Okay. Eastern Illinois, down the road the other way from Champaign, excellent state school. He is now above the, we're right at the average ACT for an accepted freshman from our district at Eastern, well above the GPA, about a half point. And so this is clear. Now there's some red not too far away, but I would feel shocked if I found out that Danny applied and did not get into Eastern Illinois. Okay, so we've got three choices. So the last part of this is common wisdom would say the best school is the hardest one to get into. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. So let's say he gets into all three of these schools. A lot of people would say you have to go to U of I. The reality, academically, is you want to go where you feel you have the best fit. Okay? Sometimes students worry, oh, what if I go to Eastern? I'm the smartest kid there. I don't think you will be. I don't say it like that. But what if you are? Imagine the attention you're going to get. Imagine the grants you could get. Imagine the honors classes you're going to be in. That might be a great fit for you. You might really thrive in that environment. Okay? Illinois State, you're going to be around a lot of people who are around you academically. Okay? U of I might be great. You might find that the academics are very difficult because everybody around you had higher scores and things like that. You might struggle with that. So it's not always this clear cut. So you need to visit, you need to search your soul and decide what's best for you. There's no real clear-cut answer to that. But I just wanted to illustrate it's not always as easy as the hardest schools to get into are necessarily going to be the best for you. And just today I found an article by a lady named Linnell Engelmeyer. It's called Why the Wrong College Match Can Be Bad for Your Mental Health. It's kind of a scary title. Okay, and I'm not going to get into the article, but it's a great last paragraph, and I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Eubanks after this. This kind of illustrates what I'm saying. It says, the real message here, however, is to search carefully. Don't look at college statistics as the barometer of where you should apply. Look at the atmosphere, see what opportunities students have, and check the climate on campus. This is information that is much more difficult to quantify than average standardized test scores, but perhaps more important. Use college search tools to narrow down your choices, but then talk to students, read the campus newspaper, and most importantly, visit and get a feel for life on campus. So, a lot to think about, but we have the tools to figure out academically at least where we might fit within the freshman class. So, at this point, we're going to switch to the financial talk, which is very important, obviously, and so, thank you, thanks.
My name is Hank Eubanks, and I'm one of the guidance counselors here as well. One of my major roles is the financial piece here at school. And today, what I want to talk about is the concept of net price calculators. Back in the day when I first started this business, it was very difficult to predict on the front of the process what the college was actually going to cost. People found out oftentimes in April and May when they may have applied to one or two colleges only, and they find out that the colleges weren't affordable. So, and that's how the process kind of unfolds. You really don't find out what your cost is actually going to be until April of senior year. Well, in 2011, the federal government came up with a plan that all the colleges have to put on their website a tool called a net price calculator. And I think it's been very useful to families in trying to determine what am I looking at here at the end of the process so that I know that college might be affordable. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit about the concept of a net price calculator. So what I did is I took 3 examples, and I took a fictitious student when filling these out. And to get to a net price calculator, you really just need to Google the college you're looking at and put net price calculator in the search, and it usually brings it up. Okay, so I took 3 examples. The first one is our flagship institution, the University of Illinois. It's our most popular four-year college, so I wanted to bring this up. Now, this is their net price calculator from last year. Okay, so what you're going to see here in the net price calculator, oftentimes you have to discover on your own a number called the EFC, or Expected Family Contribution. Now on page 5 of this booklet, it tells you how to do that. There's a website that the federal government has up called the FAFSA Forecaster, and it usually asks you information about your taxes, how much money you make. You plug all this information, how many children you have in college at the same time, and it will give you a number called the EFC. And the EFC used to mean something. Okay, it used to mean your expected family contribution. That used to, 25 years ago, that's about what you could have expected to pay. Anymore, this number is basically used to determine whether you qualify to draw from 2 pools of free money. One is called the Illinois MAP grant, and one is called the Pell Grant. In order to get that, you have to have a fairly low EFC, and many people don't qualify for those 2 sources of money. However, the EFC does tell the colleges and give them an idea of what your financial situation is. Okay? And the EFC will be a number when you fill out a form in October, as early as you can fill out. It's called the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. We'll give the colleges that number. But to do a guesstimate on the front end, you've got to figure it out yourself and use FAFSA Forecaster to do that. So I've taken a fictitious student. We'll call him Danny Darian. Okay? Might as well use that same name. I put in here for Danny Darian, family of 4, 1 in college, $90,000 EFC with an ACT of a 27 and a grade point average of a 4.75 out of a 4.0. We're on a 5-point scale, but oftentimes these things are going to want you to convert it to a 4-point when doing the figuring. So I just taken a point off, and this is like B plus, A minus student with $90,000 a year. I just pulled the number out of the air. So you plug these numbers, you go to the U of I calculator, you plug in your EFC that you derive from the forecaster, and you're going to get this type of thing for every college. And here what it's going to have is a whole bunch of numbers for you. Now, the top one, usually at the top, they're going to list the sticker price. This is the cost of the college. Okay? We call it sticker price because very often that's not what you pay. It's like buying a car in some sense. Very few people go into a car dealership and just pay whatever they're asking, okay? Well, college is similar to this. The difference is based upon your grades, your family income, your expected family contribution number, your talents, other types of factors that colleges may be looking for, you get discounts on that price. Okay, so let's take a look at U of I here. U of I is a $35,000 a year institution. It's still about that today. This calculator is a year old, but the point is it's still about that today. So, if we take a look down there, the second line that is circled, that's called merit aid. This is the free money, okay? Colleges can do what they want with their own money. Oftentimes, they will discount your tuition based upon how badly they want your son or daughter to attend the university, okay? Danny Darien is a typical U of I student, a 27 with an A average, a B plus A average. You'll notice in this scenario, U of I didn't discount the tuition with merit aid by much. A little bit, but not by much. Okay? So we go down here to get the full price. Oftentimes, the third thing circled down there is called the direct loan. The direct loan is a loan that everybody qualifies for, regardless of how much money you make. Okay? So you can make $1 million a year and you will get the direct loan. It's a $5,500 loan. So they take off the direct loan for everybody in most of these net price calculators, and then you get the net price. U of I for this individual is going to cost $28,500. Okay? So you, at home, have to do your budgets and see whether you can come up with this. Now, a side note. A lot of people, I remember back, I was doing some research today and went back to 1987 and looked at the cost of U of I in 1987. And this is true, I'm not trying to pick on U of I, this is true of all colleges across the board. Illinois State, Augustana, you name the college. The tuition fees, room and board at U of I back in 1987 was $5,800. Well, yeah. And so when I worked my way and paid for my college in the summertime, you could actually do it back then, right? Today, it's $35,000. If you added a 2.56 inflation rate compounded annually over that time, it should cost today $12,000. That's for everything, tuition, fees, room, and board. It costs $35,000. So we're playing a different game, guys. That's all I'm saying about that. Now, do you have to pay that much money? It may be the perfect fit for you, okay? U of I may be the right choice for you, and maybe you're willing to take the loans or whatever you need to get that done. But we want you to be aware that there are other options that may net a different net price. I took the same student from a different university, Truman State, picked it out of the blue, put in the same data, the EFC, the 13.1, out of the forecaster, and here's what we have. At the top, their out-of-state tuition is $22,400. Okay? We look at the merit aid. This institution is given $6,500 in merit aid for that same student, that same U of I student. Direct loan, $5,500. The net price on this institution is $10,199. The point of the exercise is to see that different colleges are going to come up with different net prices. Okay, I'll take another. We took another example. Elmhurst College, same student, filled out their net price calculator with the same data. Here we had a sticker price of $47,500. Now that seems outrageous, $47,500. But after we look at the merit aid, the free money, that Elmhurst College really wants Danny Darien because he's got great grades or for whatever, maybe plays the tuba. I don't know why they want Danny Darien. But you can see that the merit aid is taken out, the direct loan is figured in there, and the net price is $18,800. Same student, 3 different schools, 3 drastically different net prices. The point is, with this talk, is to understand that you can do this research on the front end. You don't have to wait to the end, and we encourage you to do Mr. Dickerson's big list and then go to their net price calculators. This is probably a mom and dad thing, maybe more than a son or daughter thing, and realize that you don't have to borrow $100,000 to get a college degree. One thing I've learned in my 23 years of doing this is adults know what $100,000 in debt is like to pay off. Kids don't. So we have to be the adults in the room and set realistic expectations of what we are allowed our children to borrow. And on that last note, I also run some figures. For every $10,000 a kid borrows or anybody borrows for college at the current loan rate for the direct loan, which is 4.25%, it's a $100 repayment for 10 years. So if you borrow $10,000, a $100 payment for 10 years might not be so bad. 20 is $200 repayment. 30, 40. You can see if you get into the $100,000 mark, you're paying for a house without having a house. And that's something that we want you, those of you that are in that position to worry about that, we just want to make sure that you know that there's options. And that's all my talk. Thank you.
All right. Great. So the last thing then is to discuss field fit. Excuse me. Our presenters are brave. I've been out sick the last 2 days. Hopefully the microphone didn't interfere. So it's already done. So I hope you guys have strong immune systems. So field fit is the last perspective we're going to talk about with college search. This is one that often gets discussed. It's a little bit more intuitive. But that amorphous, ambiguous feel, right? Like what do people do on weekends? What's the climate on campus? Do they have the clubs and activities I'm interested in? All these different things. So let's imagine that you were inspired by Mr. Dickerson. And so tonight you race home as a family, you log into Family Connection, and you do a search, and you already know very specifically what you want. You want a small school in the Midwest that's highly selective, has a beautiful campus, right? You throw in all these things, you're like, great, I know what I want, a small school, highly selective, Midwest. If you did that, all three of these colleges would be in your results in Family Connection. All three of them are small in the Midwest and highly selective. Right under the name of the college, you can see is the average GPA and average ACT of an admitted student there, which shows these are highly selective schools. Wheaton College in Wheaton, Illinois, local here. We took a little snippet of the mission statement of the college right there, and as you can see, an academically rigorous four-year Christian liberal arts college where we seek to honor Jesus Christ with mind, soul, body, and strength. That may be a very good fit for your child, for your family, but a very specific culture, right? Oberlin College in Oberlin, Ohio, just outside of Cleveland. Almost identical academic profile, right? Great school, very selective in the admissions process, beautiful campus. You can see a snippet from their mission statement there, where their revolutionary policies attract independent and diverse groups of students. They were one of the first schools in the country to admit and graduate women, one of the first schools in the country to admit and graduate students of color, politically liberal. So you can see how schools that look the same on paper are different in experience, right? Whereas Wheaton, there's weekly chapel. Oberlin, you know, there's break dancing competitions, and you know, there might be a naked run through campus or something, right? Like different experiences on campus. The last one, which also fits this mold, is Hillsdale College in Michigan. Again, small, Midwest, highly selective, great. It's the only school in the country that does not accept federal or state money. No encroachments on their freedom, a very libertarian spirit. So you can see how that would create a campus culture that's politically minded in kind of a conservative, libertarian way. So the way to explore field fit is to get on campus, to read about a school, to meet with college reps when they come through Hinsdale South. So what I'll encourage you to do, though, is you can't visit every college, but you can visit different types of colleges. On page 6 and 7 of your guidebook, you can make a note there. It has some tips on what to do if you're visiting a campus. What are good questions to ask? How do you set up to visit? So you may not visit all of those schools, but you read online a little bit about it, and maybe you're going to visit Wheaton because it's local, and then maybe you visit North Central because it's local, and Elmhurst because it's local. Those are 3 different small schools where you can get a different feel at each one. Campus visits are encouraged, but again, maybe you just visit a big school, a mid-sized school, a small school, and then when you know where you're applying, you visit all those schools. You don't have to visit 50 schools between now and next September, okay? That's not the expectation. But get on some campuses. Again, the idea is the more time you put in, the more you're going to be comfortable making decisions next fall. Now, you are very lucky as residents of District 86. We host one of the largest college fairs in the Midwest. We're going to have over 200 colleges on site here in Hinsdale South, April 21st, 7 to 9 p.m. You'll get a mailing and an email about that. It's also in the book. But there's going to be 200 college admissions reps in the field house. So you can review that list online before that night and say, okay, there's 200 colleges here, but there's only 12 that I want to speak with. You can make sure you go to those 12 reps to their table, ask them questions about the campus experience, about majors, about Greek life, whatever it is that you're interested in. Make sure you take advantage of this event. I mentioned that college reps come through Hinsdale South. We have about 100 reps come through our school every year. You can see the list online, you can hear it in the announcements, you can print it, post it outside our office, you can log into Family Connection, it's a Family Connection. We try and get it out there as many different ways as possible. Students who may have never visited with a rep before, now is the appropriate time to begin if you've never done it. You must get a pass from the counseling office to do this. Your teacher must sign it, okay? You can't miss that calculus test just because you feel like it, but we encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity. All right, so we'll wrap up the portion of kind of our college exploration overview. Here's the 2 things we want you to take away. Students, this can be put off no longer if you have been putting it off. All right, you need to do things like use Family Connection, you go to college night, go to college rep visits, look at guidebooks, talk to friends. Now is the time to begin, and students, it's your job to come up with a big list of schools, okay? Dream, put yourself in different places, in different scenarios, what's right for you. Learn about what's out there, learn about yourself, try and decide on the best fit, okay? That's your job, students. Parents, when the students bring you their list, you may want to look at the net price calculators of each school or begin exploring financial aid options as it relates to your students' list and kind of lead that discussion. Okay? All right, so I encourage you, use your counselors as a resource throughout this process. You're going to sit down with them for the junior planning conference coming up soon. Right now, what we're going to do, thank you for your attention so far, is we're going to take about a 3-minute break while we get our college panel of experts set up. Feel free to use the restroom, get a drink, stretch your legs. We'll begin at, let's say, 7:13. All right, thank you very much.
Welcome back. It's great to see a big crowd tonight. We really appreciate you being here, and this is a great kickoff to the next couple weeks where you will all be attending your son or daughter's junior planning conference. So thank you again for coming. We have a very exciting panel. We have some tremendous schools here that are using their time wisely, coming here to Hinsdale South, so we definitely appreciate this panel. My name is Laura Jarman, I'm one of the counselors here, and I'd like to introduce this tremendous panel that we have for you here tonight. First, from College of DuPage, we have Mr. Sean Warren Couch. From Michigan State University, we have Mr. Michael Ford. From Western Illinois University, we have Mr. Sean Walkner. From Vanderbilt University, Ms. Julie Chapman. From Bradley University, Ms. Sarah Daughtry. And from St. Mary's University of Minnesota, we've got Ms. Brenda Jones. So, just to emphasize what we're accomplishing here tonight, we have this tremendous panel. We're, again, very lucky to have them. And what we're trying to showcase to our crowd tonight is there are all different types of colleges and universities. So what we've tried to highlight here is colleges that we consider in different categories. We like to show you that there are different opportunities in different categories. So today, College of DuPage is our community college. Michigan State University is what we call our flagship state school. Western Illinois is our non-flagship state school. Vanderbilt University is our highly selective private school. Bradley University is our mid-sized private school. And St. Mary's University of Minnesota is listed as our traditional private school. So they will speak tonight on behalf of their university, but they are also showcasing the type of school that they are to open your mind to the different options that are out there. Okay? We talked about academic fit, we talked about field fit, we talked about financial fit. This panel will help to showcase the differences in schools. So we're going to start with questions. We'll start with question number one. We'll start down here with St. Mary's. And question number one, what are some of the unique features of your type of school? And why do you think your school fits that title? So again, a traditional private school. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brenda Jones. I'm with St. Mary's University of Minnesota, located in Winona, Minnesota. We are a traditional private college, meaning that we have an undergraduate student population of about 1,200 students. So most traditional private colleges are going to have between 1,000 and 3,000 students. Our students live on campus, so the majority of them, about 90-some% of them, live on campus. There are 4 years that they attend there. We teach a liberal arts education, meaning that we provide a general knowledge to students and we try to develop their intellectual abilities. So the students at St. Mary's are taking a variety of classes to kind of, broaden their knowledge, along with taking classes in their major subject area. So we have an emphasis on strong verbal and written communication skills, and we try to develop their problem-solving and critical thinking abilities. We have small, intimate class sizes. So at St. Mary's, we have between 18 and 20 students in a class. The largest class that you'll see at St. Mary's is about 40 students, and that's in your introduction to psychology or introduction to biology classes. There's a lot of relationship building that goes on at St. Mary's. Students will develop a lot of relationships with their fellow peers and also with the faculty and staff at St. Mary's. When you apply to the university, you are applying to the university as a whole, and you do not need to apply to your area of study. So students are admitted to the university and then they get to choose the area of study that they want to study, and they get to study now. So there's no applying to a specific major once they get there.
Great, thank you. Let's go on to Bradley, the mid-sized private school.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Dougherty here from Bradley University. Bradley is located in Peoria, Illinois, which is right in the center of the state. So if anybody's been to any championships of sports or any music or anything, you've probably been to Peoria. The Peoria really mimics the size of Bradley. We're both medium sized. Peoria as a city is about 350,000 people with the area around it. So it's a big enough city to have enough to do, enough internship opportunities for the students, enough entertainment, sports, concerts, things like that. And Bradley is the same way. It's large enough for about 5,000 undergraduate students. So it's large enough that we have 5 different colleges, all located right on campus, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but they do focus on each different academic area then. So 5 colleges, we have a graduate school, we have Division I athletics, So we have all the cool stuff of a bigger school, but we're not so large that we give up that personal attention of a smaller school. Our average class size is only 21 students, and we have a 12-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. So we like to think that we're a college-like university. It's kind of the best of both worlds. And we're unique among our other schools that are similar to us in that size because of our philosophy of what we can offer our students based in a city like Peoria.
Great, thank you. Moving on now to Vanderbilt, the highly selected private.
Good evening, my name is Julie Chapman and I'm here representing Vanderbilt University. Appreciate the invitation to be here this evening. So we're here representing the highly selective university, and I think that that can oftentimes be a slightly scary bracket to be in with the term selective in there. So I'm going to sort of break that down for you. Oftentimes students will associate selective with competitive, and the competitive nature really refers to there being some sort of competition between students, that the student that gets the best grades, the students that have the highest test scores will automatically win admission to a highly selective university. But selectivity is more than that. Selectivity is really building a community, and ultimately at a highly selective institution, that's what we're trying to do, is build a community where students really have the opportunity to learn both in and out of the classroom. Many highly selective institutions are going to fall into the mid-sized range, similar to communities that Bradley has to offer as well. Those highly research-oriented institutions, but also that focus on the undergraduate student experience, living and learning on campus, really taking advantage of opportunities to collaborate with professors at a very high level, potentially be published as an undergraduate student, really making the most out of the academic and the personal experience that you're having on the campus itself.
Thank you very much. Western Illinois University, non-flagship state school.
Good evening again. My name is Sean Walkner, transfer coordinator with Western Illinois University. As far as non-flagship schools go, first of all, most of us are going to be regional in nature. Our academic programs are going to reflect the needs of the region that we're in. Western Illinois being in West Central Illinois, certainly tend to focus on agriculture, on law enforcement, education, programs like that, again, very regionally based. All 12 of the public schools in the state of Illinois are required by law to guarantee tuition for 4 years. So that is, certainly unique to public schools in the state of Illinois, flagship or non-flagship. Admission to non-flagship schools in Illinois tend to be more ACT GPA based, either off of a formula or some kind of a grid, versus being selective in nature, like some of our flagships are here in the state. Western specific, we are the only school in the state of Illinois that takes that tuition guarantee one step further. We will also guarantee for the student the tuition, the fees, as well as room and board rates for 4 years. So while most other schools in Illinois on the public side will have a tuition guarantee, we have a total cost guarantee. So when you're looking at the net price calculator, it's great to know that that's not going to change over a 4-year period, where at other schools your room and board, your student fees will change year to year. With Western Illinois, we're a mid-sized state public university. We've got right around 10,000 students. The other non-flagships in Illinois are somewhere between 8 and 14. So again, we're right in the mid-size of that non-flagship status. We like to brag that we can offer small classroom feel and that personal touch hands-on with your instructors and your professors, while still having some of the amenities that you can get at the larger flagship institutions. As a non-flagship, we like to think we have very affordable tuition, fees, room and board rates. Again, providing that educational opportunity for the students throughout Illinois and throughout the region.
Great, thank you. Michigan State University, representing flagship state school.
Good evening, I'm Mike Ford with Michigan State University, located in East Lansing, Michigan, about a 3.5-hour drive from here. a flagship state school is typically going to be on the larger side, and I think everything that you've heard to this point, putting it in one place and having a combination of all those things could probably best describe a flagship or a large public research institution. One of the hallmarks I think that we all hang our hat on is diversity. Very much, a school of 50,000 students, you might be looking at a global population, so a strong international population on your campus, or the number of your students that go overseas at some point, maybe through a study abroad program, is vastly different from school to school. But I think it's more than just people diversity. So yes, racial, ethnic, religious, socioeconomic, folks from all different walks of life. But if you look at the diversity of academic offerings, social opportunities, community engagement, extracurriculars, you do really have a world of opportunities at your disposal. At Michigan State, we have 3 med schools and 1 law school, which is pretty cool, but with an undergraduate focus, you do see things like packaging and supply chain management, labor industrial relations, and things that you might not even be thinking about at this point. But just know that in a place the size of a lot of flagship schools, you might have up to 200 majors to choose from. So there might be something out there that you don't even know that exists at this point. Because I'm willing to bet that a lot of you guys when you were in kindergarten weren't thinking about becoming the next great supply chain manager. Am I right? Okay, some of you might have been. So, but at a large public institution, you really can have more choices, I think, as far as discovery. Your timeline might be a little bit different depending on the school that you attend. But ultimately, we have more than one goal. It's not just teaching. It's not just giving you a degree. It's typically making the world a better place. So it could be cancer research or biofuel research. It could be food safety and security research. Basically, if you wanted to attend an institution that will change the world every day, look for a large public research institution. Thank you.
Thank you. College of DuPage, representing our community college.
Hi everyone, my name is Sean Warren Crouch, and again I'm from College of DuPage. Community colleges are open to the community. So community colleges are open enrollment, which means as long as you've graduated from high school or you've turned 18, you will be able to start courses with us. Now, community colleges can offer a lot of different programs. At College of DuPage, we can offer both degree and certificate programs. We offer 2-year associate degree programs that are either able to transfer on to some of these institutions that we've talked to here, or they're designed to get you working right in the field right away. And we also offer certificate programs which are very specific to a field of study that you want to go into. For high school students, I don't usually recommend a certificate program. We see a lot of returning adult students earning those certificates. So if you're just out of high school, I would highly recommend pursuing that degree as opposed to just the certificate. Community college students, we are a wide variety of students. About 40% of our students are considered adult students. So in the classroom, you're going to be surrounded by people that aren't necessarily going to be right around your age. So there's a wide variety of students. We've got international students, we've got traditional age students, and then we also have those adult students. Community colleges are partially funded through your taxes, so thank you for that. You are all a part of College of DuPage's community college district because you do live in Intel South's district. So your community college is College of DuPage, and we'll talk about some other community colleges and then the reason why you should or should not go to those.
All right, thank you. We're going to start back here with St. Mary's. What other schools would you consider to be similar to your school?
When I think about schools that are similar to our schools, I'm looking at schools that aren't necessarily in a large metropolitan area. Winona's about a population of about 30,000. So I think probably some schools that are similar to St. Mary's would be Loris, St. Norbert, Hope, Luther, Carroll, and probably Beloit. I would put those in the same category.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
I would say schools in the Midwest, and again, medium-sized private institutions, typically Butler, Drake, Marquette, Xavier, Creighton, those come to mind. The difference is Bradley doesn't have a religious affiliation, and Butler and Drake don't either, but Marquette and Creighton and Xavier do. And so perhaps that's what you're looking for, and that's wonderful, but perhaps it isn't, and so that would be something to consider as well as religious affiliations.
So a couple of institutions that are similar to Vanderbilt, again, we fall in that highly selective range. We are a mid-sized private research university that puts a high emphasis on research and undergraduate students. Similar schools, or what we would consider our peers, are largely regionally based, but also nationally based. So our biggest overlap school is Duke. And if you look at the region, we're located in Nashville near North Carolina. You also see UNC and UVA pop up on those lists. Duke, Harvard, Princeton, Yale are all considered peers of Vanderbilt.
For the non-flagship state schools, within Illinois, some of our peers would be Eastern Illinois in Charleston, Northern Illinois in DeKalb, and then Southern Illinois University in Carbondale and Edwardsville. If you're looking out of state at a non-flagship, institutions like the University of Northern Iowa come to mind, University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, Indiana State University as well are all considered non-flagship state public institutions.
I think for your large flagship state schools, for us, I would think Big Ten. So, you know, even out east, you've got Rutgers, you've got Penn State, you've got Indiana, Iowa, even like peer institutions like Missouri and Kansas. And, you know, if you look down south, you've got University of Florida, out west, Arizona State, UCLA. So you do have a variety there. One of the cool things that I'll kind of touch on is typically you've got a global brand. And it's not always about the sweatshirt that you have on or something like that, but there is something to be said about, you know, last weekend I was down in Gainesville for a wedding, and I've got a Spartan t-shirt on, and I go into a Panera Bread, and I'm walking in, and one of the guys says, "Go green." And he's got Florida stuff on, and he just said, "Hey, Sparty, go green." And so I give him a go white back, which is, you know, you guys remember that, that's the appropriate response. But then if you know, 5 minutes later, I have a lady taking a picture of me and says, "I have to take a picture of a Spartan and send it to my boss. He's an alum, he's from Alabama, but he's absolutely diehard." So yeah, you do have a little bit of kind of a connectivity to folks that I'll never know their name and might never see them again, but it can break down barriers and kind of put you in a position to meet somebody that you never might have. So.
There are quite a few community colleges in Illinois. Some that come to mind are going to be Joliet Junior College, Triton, Waubonsie Community College. But it's really important to know that you are a part of College of DuPage's district. If you were to go to any of those other community colleges, you would be paying their out-of-district costs, which is quite a bit more than their in-district cost. It could be 2 to 3 times as much. So it's important to know what district you're a part of. Right now you are a part of College of DuPage's, but if you do move, it is smart to find out what community college you are a part of.
Great, thank you. All right, Sean, we're going to start with you for the next question. What type of student really flourishes at your school?
Excellent. Well, as I mentioned, we are an open enrollment institution, so we do accept a lot of different types of students. If you are a higher achieving student, we've got some great programs for you. There's Phi Theta Kappa, which is the Community College Honor Society, which if you are higher achieving, that could open you up to a lot of scholarships when you do transfer on. If maybe you weren't that scholar in high school, maybe you just eked by and you just made it out of high school, you can start at the community college. If you get those grades up, that's really going to help you to get accepted to these other institutions. So we do see that light switch turn on in a lot of students when they're starting at College of DuPage to really get them on the right track. So there's a lot of different opportunities at the community college, and we definitely encourage all students to take advantage of those.
At a large flagship school, you're probably, I mean, you guys are probably hearing questions, oh, what do you want to major in, what do you want to do? That's not going to stop over the next 5-6 years, so you know, keep that in mind. But I think the thing that stands out is the flexibility that I mentioned before. Last year we had about 8,000 freshmen come in. 20% of those at Michigan State declared no preference as their major. It doesn't mean that they don't necessarily know what they want to do, it's just they want a little bit of time to figure it out. So you do have the flexibility there. At a large public research institution, a lot of times you're focusing on a job market that doesn't even exist at this point. You know, it's hard to predict, okay, what the future is going to look like in 20 years, what type of jobs might be available. So you're really looking at learning how to communicate, how to work in teams, problem solving, critical thinking. And it's not just in the classroom. You know, at a large public school, you're typically being put out into the community. you might have 500 or 600 clubs and organizations you become involved with. So you'll see a lot of ways to engage. And they could be things like the accounting or finance club, or something like the Star Trek or squirrel watching club, which you'll see at a lot of institutions. And basically it gives you the chance to find out what interests you and gives you the routes to pursue it.
At the non-flagship state schools, I like to call my boss the data dork, because again, he's very big on data and numbers. And at Western Illinois, our data supports that our students that are actively involved, engaged in both in the classroom activity as well as outside the classroom, excel at a higher level. Their GPAs are higher, and their retention numbers are much higher. And that data comes with students that are involved in 2 or more student organizations. So again, those students that are actively engaged, that want to go the extra mile and get involved, either it being research in the classroom, because at Western we do have an honors college. So those high achieving students do have that home to go to get that academic rigor, that academic challenge. And at the other end, if you are in the middle pack of our middle 50% students, maybe not quite meeting admission criteria, we have a strong academic alternative admission program where those students that are admitted through that program meet with an academic advisor every other week. Not that they're making sure you're doing your homework or anything along those lines, they're making sure that those lines of communication are open with your faculty, making sure that in essence you're going to class, making sure you're understanding and grasping the concepts that are being taught in class. You know, and those things again, to kind of that little extra hand holding. So as a non-flagship, we really cover every spectrum of student, versus, highly selective. That's only really going to tier towards those higher achieving. The non-flagship really can be the perfect fit for any student, So
at a lot of the highly selective institutions, you're going to have opportunities to really engage in the learning environment inside the classroom, and then there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to engage in the learning environment outside of the classroom. And so students that flourish at institutions like Vanderbilt are students that are able to maintain the balance between the two, that are highly engaged academically and highly engaged socially as well. On Vanderbilt's campus, we are really strong in the liberal arts, in engineering, in education, and we're looking for students that are going to really contribute to the new knowledge that's being created on our campus. But at the same time, on a Saturday afternoon, we want you to be out in the community. We want you being involved in clubs and organizations. We want you taking on leadership roles. We want you developing those skills as a person that are going to serve you after you graduate from campus. The ability to really engage in a conversation with a peer, engage in a conversation with one of your faculty members or staff members, but just ultimately make the most of the community and the resources that you have on campus, again, both academically and socially, and maintaining the balance between the two.
I'd say Bradley's description is very similar to that, and I always have a hard time answering this question because we appeal to so many different people. We'll have siblings that are looking for the exact opposite in their college, and they end up at Bradley together because we just can appeal to such a wide variety of students. But yes, we're certainly looking for students who are going to take their education seriously and they want to excel in their area and work with experts in their field. It's always our professors that are teaching their classes, so they're working with their professors from day one, but they're also getting out and getting involved in things, and they're in our 240 clubs and activities and our religious groups and our Greek life and our intramural sports. Tonight I am here, I am missing our Macklemore and Ryan Lewis concert on campus, so they're getting to enjoy that as well. So, this is the kind of environment we like. We want to work hard, but play hard as well.
I think the kind of student that flourishes at a traditional private college like St. Mary's is a student that wants to get involved in a variety of activities. About 25% of our student population are student athletes, but those athletes are doing many other things. They are participating in the student newspaper. They might be doing one of the programs on the student-run radio station. They are most likely doing some kind of community service. And just a variety of other clubs and organizations. And they may also be holding a job, so they might be working on campus or in the community as well. The students that are at St. Mary's also, I believe, want to experience that intimate class setting. They want to be able to discuss with their peers in class, and they also want to have that personal relationship with their professors.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on to a fun question here where I know all of these representatives will be able to really showcase their strengths. I'd also like to switch the slide here. This is a big event tonight, and I know that many of our families will have questions, and we have provided the contact information for our wonderful reps here. And so if you wanted to reach out to find out any questions, you'll be able to contact these representatives. We have that on the slide here. So this question here, please share with us 3 specific things. Please share with us the specific highlights of your college. It could be academic, athletics, scholarship, campus life, what you really feel proud of. And let's start with College of DuPage.
Great. Well, College of DuPage is one of the largest single-campus community colleges in the nation. We have almost 30,000 students that attend each semester, so we are absolutely huge. Another thing that's really important to us is we do attract the higher achieving students. So one of our special scholarships is our presidential scholarship. If you receive a 27 or higher on your ACT or a 4.8 out of 5.0, a 4.75 out of 5.0 GPA, you could qualify for up to 2 years full paid tuition. Now you do have to apply that scholarship, so don't think it's an automatic thing, but you could qualify for up to 2 years of your first 2 years of that bachelor's degree for free for you. The third thing I want to share would be our 3+1 bachelor's degree programs. We've got some special programs where you can earn the bachelor's degree entirely at our campus. Now we can only offer it with certain programs, and we partner with other four-year institutions to allow them to offer that bachelor's degree on our campus. The reason it's called 3+1, you get to be a College of DuPage student for 3 full years, so you get to pay our lower tuition for a 3rd year. And then that final year, that partner institution will come to our campus to teach you. That final year, you do pay their tuition, but they do discount the tuition that final year. And in the end, there's an opportunity to earn that bachelor's degree in under $30,000 for the entire tuition for the entire 4 years. So it's a great opportunity. We can only offer it in certain programs. Some of the popular ones are going to be criminal justice, computer science, hospitality management, and nursing.
And at Michigan State, and I think this would hold true for most flagship schools, I really do think that you can, it's cliche to say, but you can make a big school as small as you want. You know, in a place like ours, 50,000 students, 37,000 undergrads, your average class size is about 37 students reported. Don't always just look at those numbers, dive deeper. And yes, you might be in a large lecture hall like this at some point, but I think we've all communicated pretty well tonight. So look at what type of learner you are, what type of student. Are you active, or are you more passive? You know, could you survive navigating your way in a lecture hall or a group of 30? Or do you need a group of 8, 10, 15, 18 students? And you know, diving into the programs on our campus, you know, just to throw journalism out there as an example, their average class size once you're in your major are 18 students per class. So just to show you that at a large place, you can customize it and make it as small as you want. You can do that through things like the Honors College. We have 3 residential colleges on our campus that all have a different focus, but are, you know, one of them is like attending a small liberal arts school but plopped on a Big Ten campus. Another one's like attending a small medical college plopped on a Big Ten campus. So there's a variety of those things that you can find. Look for neighborhood concepts where you might have your advisors and your health services and counseling services all within your building or within, you know, kind of 2 or 3 dorms would share those. You know, look for research opportunities and study abroad. We do have undergraduate research, and about a third of our undergrads participate in some kind of research every year. We are in the top 10 as far as the number of study abroad programs available to you guys as students, and for the number of international students coming to our campus. So you really are exposed to a lot. I think, you know, if you look at scholarships, just to touch on, a 3.5 GPA in the 24 ACT at Michigan State as a non-resident qualifies you for $8,000 per year in merit-based award. Our price tag is a little bit higher than the in-state rate for the University of Illinois. But I think as you start looking at scholarships, as you heard just before we came up, different schools have different ways to package those things. And I think all of us in the border states are experiencing a decreasing number of high school graduates each year. So there's 100 regional representatives from different institutions across the U.S. and even across the world that are all Chicago-based. So there's a Mike and a Sean and a Sarah for almost 100 different institutions here. So when you find that person, that's when you can ask those questions. But all the information should be available to you. Honors College, if you're closer to the top 15, 10% of your class, graduating class, solid A average, and a 30 or higher in the ACT, you start with $15,000 in merit-based award at Michigan State. And that can range all the way up to a full ride with a stipend. So, don't rule anything out as you're going through this process. Dive in, look at the numbers, and it's always, I guess, probably a little bit better than what it seems on the front end. So, thank you.
For Western Illinois University, our 3 highlights. Number 1 is that 95% of our courses are taught by full-time faculty. Students are probably thinking, well, that doesn't make a big difference, but it really does. Because you're paying high tuition dollars no matter where you go. You should have full-time professors in front of you. I'm sure most of you at some point during elementary, middle school, or high school have had a student teacher. And can probably say that they were the best prepared or the best teacher that you had. A lot of times that's what a graduate assistant is someone who's not yet, they're working on their master's degree, have not yet completed that, so they're not the master of the material. But again, in a lot of bigger schools than Western, they'll use these in their general education type courses. At Western, where we tend to utilize our graduate assistants are in our labs. So if you take a biology class or chemistry, even math, we have math labs as well. The lecture portion is led by a full-time faculty, but then your lab component is taught by the graduate assistants. So again, it's very important to know that when you're in your intro 100, 200 level courses, and even in your upper division, who's teaching those courses? So at Western, we certainly do our best to put our faculty in as many courses as we can, and that comes to about 95%. Second, I would say we have what we call 12 signature academic programs. These are things that we do extremely well. Our niche to Western Illinois University, we're just things we do a little bit different, like accounting. Is one of our 12 signature programs. Probably most of us up here have an accounting program. But again, for us, it's a unique opportunity. We have a 5-year integrated bachelor-master's program for accounting. So you can save that 1 year of tuition, that 1 year of living expense, and get out in that workforce making money 1 year quicker. Engineering, for us, it's a general engineering degree. So it's great for that student that's teetering between maybe mechanical engineering or civil engineering. It's also great, and maybe you can get into one of the flagship engineering programs, the Purdue's, the U of I, Iowa. Again, we've got a regionally ABET accredited program. So it's a great opportunity, at a small, mid-size public institution to do that. Forensics, we have forensic chemistry, forensic psychology, those students that are looking at that law enforcement world and want to do something more than just being a police officer. And then our latest, coolest program is sports broadcasting. For those of you that are looking at being that next ESPN analyst, we're broadcasting all of our basketball and football games on ESPN3, which is streamed live on the internet. We've got over 1 million viewership on that program, and everything in that program is 100% student done. And then the third component that I would say that's a highlight of Western is our strong division of student services. We're an NCAA D1 athletic institution, so we've got the upper echelon sports for our true athletes. If you want to go to college and just compete, but maybe not under that D1 umbrella, we have a strong division for our club sports, which is actually why I chose to go to Western. It was for one of the club sport programs. Everybody knows about 200 plus organizations. We also have a multicultural center on campus because Macomb, to be honest, is a small white farming community. But 50% of our freshman class the last 3 years has self-identified as this non-white, or non-Caucasian. So we built this multicultural center in the heart of our campus for our students of color to have that place to celebrate and honor their culture and their heritage and not have to come all the way home, the 3.5, 4 hours to do that. And then as I know Mike mentioned, the study abroad opportunities. At Western, we've got a plethora of opportunities where you can study abroad for the price of going to Western Illinois plus a plane ticket. It's that affordable. So that to me is my biggest regret about college, is not doing more research into the study abroad opportunities. I just thought, oh, I can't afford to go overseas and pay out international tuition rates. But again, it can be as affordable as paying our tuition fees, room and board, plus your plane ticket.
All right, so I touched a little bit on the academic community at Vanderbilt, and I want to break that down a little bit more as well. I mentioned the fact that we are a liberal arts institution, but we also recently implemented a program called Immersion Vanderbilt. So what that means is that students on campus are every single one of them, be getting some hands-on real-world experience in addition to the liberal arts education that they receive in the classroom. This can be done through research, this can be done through internships, this can be done through service learning opportunities. But the idea is that after you graduate from Vanderbilt, a lot of the learning that you will be doing in the real world is going to be in a non-traditional sense. I know you guys are familiar with the traditional sense of learning in the classroom with the teacher talking to you, but we want to foster that love of learning in a non-traditional sense as well. So it's a really neat program that allows students to make connections with the community, allows students to make connections with companies and organizations that could potentially lead to jobs after graduating, but also really just helps define the skills that you'll need to be successful in the real world. A second highlight about Vanderbilt is our location. We are located in the beautiful city of Nashville, Tennessee. It's known as Music City, USA. There are over 20,000 live music performances every year in Nashville. For those of you that may not necessarily be as keen on the country music, only about a third of those live music performances are country music. But Taylor Swift does own an apartment across the street from campus, so just saying. But it's a really great city for the students. The music is really infused in every aspect of the city. Our campus is just 1.5 miles from the downtown city center. Public transportation is all free for Vanderbilt students, which means that it's very easy for you to access the resources of the city. Internships, research, professional sporting events, cultural events, lots of great things that are happening in the city, and great food as well. I will highlight that. And then we are also in the heart of the SEC, which is definitely the toughest conference in the country, I will say that. But great opportunities for students to see a lot of great teams come through Nashville. And then lastly, I will highlight a little bit about our affordability at Vanderbilt. I think sticker price can be a little bit off-putting for some families, but I will say that I encourage you to dig a little bit deeper, because we actually make 3 commitments to every U.S. citizen and some non-eligible citizens with regard to need-based financial aid. The first one is that we are need blind in the admissions process, which means that when we are reviewing applications, we have absolutely no idea whether or not you've applied for need-based financial aid. The second thing that we commit to is that we will meet 100% of your family's demonstrated need. That means that after you fill out the FAFSA and the CSS profile, we're able to determine what your family can contribute, and we will pay whatever you are unable to contribute. And then the third commitment that we make is that we will do that without giving you any loans. It will all be grant assistance from the university. That's money that you guys don't have to pay back. We want to make sure that Vanderbilt is an affordable and accessible university for all students, regardless of what your family's financial circumstances are, and that you'll be able to take fully part of the university and all of the resources that we have available on campus.
At Bradley University, our educational experience is really made up of 3 components, and so those are my 3 areas I'd like to highlight. I'll start with academic excellence, and the U.S. News and World Report has ranked Bradley as a top Illinois university of its kind, and number 4 among Midwest regional universities offering undergraduate programs. So we're really happy about that. As I said, our courses are taught by faculty, so from day 1, as freshmen, you're working with professors who are experts in their field. They have contacts in their field, so they can recommend you for internships and keep you in mind for jobs then by the time you're a senior. So excellent connections there. I also mentioned we're made up of 5 colleges, so we are not just a liberal arts college, we're also not just an engineering and technology college, but we have both of those in addition to 3 other colleges internships on campus. So at Bradley, you do start your major right away, freshman year. If you're not sure what you want to major in, that's okay. Like Michigan State, a lot of our students were a little undecided or just not totally sure on their major yet. So that's an option as well. But because of the 5 colleges, we do allow students to double major, double minor, and sometimes even triple minor in areas. So you can really cultivate your own experience and get your interests all together before you graduate. The second area is experiential learning, kind of the non-traditional learning. We provide areas for our students to learn about things outside the classroom. A lot of several years in a row now, the NBC Studios has come to campus to recruit our students, and we've had them on site at the Olympics, the last several Olympics. So that's a great experience. We have a Hollywood semester where our students can go spend the whole semester living across the street from Warner Brothers Studios and really work with the movie and TV world. We have Caterpillar's World Headquarters right in Peoria, so we have engineering students doing senior capstone projects with Caterpillar, working for the company, solving real-world problems. And then, as I mentioned, the Undecided program is called our Academic Exploration Program. It does provide something called the Footsteps service before you even commit to a major. So you can actually shadow people that are working in a job and see if you like what they do before you commit to a major. And then again, we also offer study abroad experiences as well. Our third area is leadership development. As we stated, the 240 clubs and activities, they all need presidents, vice presidents, treasurers, secretaries, all kinds of different offices that you could take part in and have that experience on your resume then when you graduate. We have 100 different tour guides on campus. We have a huge group of tour guides. They're called our STARS, Student Admission Representatives. So you have a chance to be a tour guide and tell visiting students how much you like Bradley, what you don't like about Bradley. You can be candid and just really promote your school. And then there are intern positions within that team as well. And so you're running visit days for us that could have 300 to 1,000 visitors. And that's a really great opportunity for leadership then too. And then finally, we have the National Championship speech team. Our speech team has won more national championships than any team, athletic, whatever, ever. So if you don't even have to, you can try out for our speech team. If you want to be on it, we will welcome you with open arms and you'll be on our championships speech team and it'll be amazing. So keep that in mind too.
Some of the things that I'd like to highlight for St. Mary's, University of Minnesota, are some opportunities that you might not be aware of if you were just quickly glancing at our website. One of the things is that we have a pretty strong theater program, and all of our theater majors are required to do a semester in London. So regardless of whether they are doing theater performance or theater management or the technical end, any and all of those students will study abroad in London during the first semester of their junior year working on a London production. So that's exciting for those students. We also have some unique programs that we do in conjunction with Mayo Clinics, which is located in Rochester, Minnesota, which is about 40 minutes away from Winona. We do some allied health majors where students take some classes on St. Mary's campus for about 2 or 3 years, and then they actually go over to Mayo Clinics and do their clinical work over there, graduating with a bachelor's degree from St. Mary's, but also a certificate in whatever area they are working in. So some of those areas might be echocardiography, radiography, nuclear medicine, medical lab sciences. So those are some unique programs that we offer. We also offer short-term study abroad, so students can take a class at St. Mary's during their second semester, and then once school is completed and over with for the year, those students then travel abroad to wherever they were studying about. So we have a Brit Lit class, and the students go over to London. Our business students travel to China. Our Spanish students travel to Buenos Aires. So there's a variety of those, and it's an opportunity for students to go and study abroad without committing to a full semester.
That concludes the panel portion. What an amazing group of people here tonight to help us learn and help you learn. Excellent. Before you head out tonight, just a few quick reminders. Number one, we are here as a counseling department to help you and guide you. You all are been invited to a junior planning conference. You'll have that opportunity to meet with the counselor, talk about the college plan, really dive into this exploration process. I can see your faces. You've been sitting for a while. There's a lot of information. Many of you are feeling overwhelmed. You're going to be able to sort through this information. A lot of our reps that are here today left some brochures and materials up in the counseling office. We have those for students. If you want to come by the counseling office tomorrow, you can come pick up those materials. Also, we had up on the screen here the contact information. Okay, so lots of exciting things coming your way. Again, we are trying to improve our programming, do the best for you. We passed out a survey that you would follow this link. I didn't say this right here, bit.do. The director, Michael Holland, will be proud of me for that. So if you can follow this link and give us some feedback on what you think of this program, what we can do to improve it, that would be very helpful. So again, I want to thank the reps and also the counseling department that spoke tonight. What a great performance on their behalf. And thank you for everybody.